give us a sense of your own experience with money management, and give us a glimpse of what it took for you to create Stashfin and your learnings along the way.
Sure. Thanks, Hannah. You know, all the things you mentioned that growing up investing was all male dominated. I don't think I grew up in an environment which was any different. Even today, when you look at the advertisements on TV, it's all driven towards men. And that's a similar background I grew up with, which my parents were very, very clear that they wanted to bring up independent women who do not depend on a third party for their investments or their future. So we're three sisters and a brother, and all three sisters are quite independent, and so is my brother. I'm a chartered accountant, I'm an investment banker, studied at Columbia University, and studied finance through and through when did that. And throughout my journey, I've had female role models where, talking about money, talking about investment has not been a taboo. It has been, it has been a great platform for me to learn from the US and bring it back to India and understand what you can service and how you can service those who are underserved in the country. You know, Stashfin is a large company. We underwrite close to a million customers a month, and of which only 10% of them are women. So whether it's salaried, unsalaried women, are just not taking charge of their finances. It's just about, they are bogged down by the daily routine of their homes, taking care of their houses, their children, their parents, that they're not thinking so much about their future. And for me, having two children, it's very, very important because I understand money and I come from that industry. Planning for contingency, especially during COVID, it's been very important. Planning for healthcare, planning for term life insurance, working towards your own employee provident fund. All these things have taken a big part of a step back in understanding what I want in the future. Whether buying a new car or, during COVID times, a lot of us invested money in home improvement because home became office for pretty much all of us. And looking at the pictures on the screen, I can pretty much tell that everyone's still working from home, and it's here to stay. The hybrid model is here. So our requirements, our homes are really our offices now. One should always think about a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. And as I'm growing into that mold of educating a lot more people in my sphere at work, we do talk about a lot of it very openly.
Right.
Women do not actively participate in the stock market, which I understand, because it's something which it's more about time and interest. And
Correct.
women probably feel better putting their money in an FD or buying a piece of gold, which they will gradually appreciate, or something in mutual fund, which gets pegged to the Nifty anyway, and you don't have to worry about it. But as we all are growing into this mold of taking care of ourselves and think about ourselves first, I think it's really important of all the things I mentioned, have a 5-year plan, have a 10-year plan. And that's what I've been doing for myself. That's what I've been doing for my teams, introducing healthcare
Right.
plans. One of the things which we introduced is even though if your husband has a healthcare plan, make sure you buy one for yourself, because
Right.
during COVID, you
Right.
could cover your parents and he could cover his parents. The liability is shared. So this is some initiative we've taken very, very actively and has resulted very well for us.
Great. Thanks, Shruti, for that. And you brought up a lot of points, which I'm sure we'll discuss in more detail as we go along. But Deepika, let me come to you next, right? Give us a little bit
Yeah.
of your own journey, your own learnings personally on money management, and give us a sense of whether you believe that women who don't have an independent source of income of their own, and that becomes a large sort of impediment in their
Yeah.
relationship with money, and even perhaps actively participating in decision making around family money, right? That feeling of, this is not my own, I have not earned it, and therefore do I have a right to even speak about it? So to
Yeah.
you on that, Deepika. A little bit about your own journey, and then if you can shed some light
Sure.
on women's relationship with money if they don't earn it themselves.
Sure. So, hi everyone. I'm very excited to be a part of this conversation. I know it's going to be a very interesting next half an hour. So, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Bases. Bases is a financial services platform, a fintech catering to urban professional working women. Whether you're salaried, whether you are you're a consultant, in whichever capacity you're bringing money home, or even if you are a homemaker with access to some income which you can choose to invest. So very different audience that we're catering to from the question you just asked us, right, Sarna? But I think if we've learned anything in the last 2 years, it's the fact that irrespective of whether you're earning, you're financially independent in that sense of drawing in income or not. Not being involved in the family's finances is not an option anymore, right? The reason we also started Basis 2 years ago, I'd been working in fintech and wealth management for about 12 years by then. And my co founder, at the time that she was going for her master's to, an Ivy League school, realized that, like, as a good student, she had everything planned out, right? Like, it checked every box except how I'm going to pay for this education. And these are still privilege problems. This is still a problem of figuring out how I'm going to pay for an Ivy League education. But these problems are prevalent in every home at a very different scale. Oh, I want to upskill myself. Hey, I took a break from work. I didn't work for like 6 years after my child. I don't know how to come back. I know it's going to require me to like become up to date with a whole bunch of things. It's going to cost money, but I don't know how to do it. So while we're talking of women who have cash in hand or don't have cash in hand, I think not being involved is not an option. For instance, at Basis, we run a community of over 100,000 women, and this was back last year. While the second wave, a woman just put a message in the community saying that, hey, my husband is in the hospital. He has a health insurance policy. We have money in the bank. We have various insurances in place. I don't know how to access that money because I've never done it before, right? So that is also a huge problem. Like, you may not be bringing money home, but I think if there's one thing we've learned from our mothers or grandmothers who probably didn't work, is that they were very actively involved in financial decisions at home, including with school we went to, right? It wasn't an independent decision that somebody else made on their behalf or our behalf. It was a joint decision evaluating various points. So I, for one, do not believe that women who don't bring money home are to be discounted in any way. There are very
Absolutely
many ways to get started. I think fintech and financial services has only like resulted in access, right? Like, there's so
correct.
much access to what Shruti was talking about as well. Like, these conversations have become a little more open. I think as women, we're still very guarded. If we're not going to ask questions, if we're not going to be involved in conversations, no one's going to involve us. So we need to start somewhere for ourselves.
An investor education and awareness initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.